Thanks very much, Will. Good morning, everyone. Today is the beginning of Education Week, and so the remarks I have this morning, the brief remarks I have this morning, will focus on publicly funded education. Now, we know that just about 2 months ago, there was a secret memo that we saw had been released through media reports going out from the Ministry of Education, Doug Ford's Ministry of Education, out to school boards that was talking about a $1.6 billion cut to publicly funded education and the possibility of thousands of frontline educators being fired for the upcoming school year. We also know that the funding that's provided to support classrooms and to support schools across this province is normally released by the Ministry of Education around the end of March. And here we are now in the first week of May, in Education Week, and that information has not been provided to Ontario's school boards. So I'm talking this morning, not just as a political leader, but also as a parent. My wife and I, as many of you know, are raising 2 daughters who attend an elementary school, a publicly funded elementary school here in York Region. And for the last 13 or 14 months, it's been sheer agony for parents, for students, and for all of the workers on the front lines of publicly funded education, from teachers to principals to custodians, school bus drivers, early childhood educators, everybody who works in publicly funded education, along with parents, along with kids. It's just been absolutely horrible over the past year. And to know that here we are in the first week of May, and Ontario's school boards still do not know what the full picture will look like for the upcoming school year is deeply distressing to me as a parent and to me as a political leader. And so I am urging Doug Ford today to release what's known as the Grants for Students' Needs. This is the funding that I'm talking about that supports publicly funded classrooms in every corner of Ontario. It is so important that the funding be released to school boards urgently. And in addition to that, I'm calling on Doug Ford to guarantee today in the release of that funding that there will be no cuts to publicly funded education, that there will be no layoffs, that frontline education workers, when they are so desperately needed by our students, are not fired during this moment. We are not through the third wave of COVID. We know exactly how bad or how tough it's been for the 2 million students who attend publicly funded schools across this province. They need more support. They don't need cutbacks. They need smaller class sizes. They need healthier and safer schools. And that's why Ontario Liberals committed to invest $8 billion additional dollars over 5 years. If I'm elected premier next year, we'll be investing $8 billion in new money over 5 years to build the safest and healthiest schools and classrooms in the world. And so again, I'm calling on Doug Ford, no more delay, no more dithering, no more creating concern and anxiety for the parents, for the students and frontline educators. Release the budget information, make sure there are no cuts, and let's work together to make sure that next year's school year is one that we can all truly be proud of. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Okay, just a reminder to please raise your hand or write to the chat and I will call on you. All right, it looks like there's no questions on the line. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.